Yesterday I did this exact same presentation in front of our big crowd and I forgot to put on my mic. So I am redoing this with just my buddy Kyle back here because it was a great presentation. So I hope y'all all enjoy it, and I am for certain it's going to be just as good as it was yesterday, maybe even better. We're talking about water, and water is the craziest thing. And whenever you see this, when you see the details of what I'm talking about, you're going to start to realize how water mimics you, and you mimic water because you are water. And it is so fascinating. And there's a lot of debate too, because we're going to start this off with a little scripture from not only the Bible, but the Vedas, from Hinduism, and all religions have this similar kind of parallel and discussion on whether or not God actually created water. It's pretty fascinating if you look at it, because some debate where you create the heavens and the earth, that included the water. Some debate that that was not the case, that water was the Spirit of God, as it says in the scriptures. And I think you'll have a better understanding of why this debate even exists in the first place after this. So if we can think of water in such a way, when you consider that there's never been any more or less water ever, like it is the same as it has always been, which is pretty fascinating, because I don't think most people even think of water in those terms. Like there's always been the same. Yeah, whether it's pouring down and it's flooding, or whether you're going through a drought, the amount of water on the earth is still the same. And that is pretty interesting. And whenever you think about water, you have to consider your own human body, because this big bag of flesh that we're all walking around with, that houses our consciousness, is almost all water, the whole thing. And it's very fluid, because we are constantly taking in water from no matter what we drink. Water is going in, water is going out, it's evaporating out of us, it is leaving us constantly. Our cells are duplicating, getting rid of the old cells, and it really begs the question, if I am fluid like that, where am I? Where am I? Where's your consciousness? How does your consciousness stay the way it is, constant, while your body is actually changing nonstop every second? It's pretty interesting. And without water, you get fatigue, you get headaches, you're prone to all sorts of diseases. You're generally just unwell. So just a kind of like a body hack, just sprinkle a tiny bit of salt in your water and drink a good bit of it, and keep yourself hydrated with water. It makes you feel better. It's super great before you go have a workout, or you go on a walk, or whatever. Just stay hydrated and drink more water, and then start to notice how much better you feel. It's pretty interesting. And we're going to go through a lot of the different natures of water. And if you can think about yourself, inside of yourself, you feel these storm clouds rolling. You know, somebody maybe just pissed you off, or you got in a fight with your loved ones, or something happens. The water inside of us mimics those storm clouds, because water gets angry. Water can terrorize. And as those storm clouds are just flowing through angrily, just pelting and beating down on everything, you can see the direct reflection in yourself, because you do the same thing. So have I. We have allowed that water, that storm, to build inside of us, and then we release it. We are just like water in that way. We're also just peaceful at times, right? You know, you can sit outside in your chair like we were doing yesterday, sitting outside here that y'all can't see, but there's this beautiful field and nature walks, and we're just looking at the peaceful rolling white clouds. And we are exactly that too. Our water can be calm and peaceful, and we just soar with our dreams and ambitions and our desires and our love. We just see it pass, and we're just all part of it. It is really, really pretty cool. And every time I drive over a bridge, I always look down. I try to look down anyway, and look at how the water just meanders. Water carves new paths. It makes new little inlets. It creates little ponds. It creates little yetis. It's fascinating that water will always start to curve out a new path. It's pretty fascinating how it just dances. And isn't that the same with us and how we carve new directions in our own life? Where sometimes we make, like a river, makes the curve and the bend just a little too much. And then when it has to revert back to the mean. We are water. So whenever we start to observe the outer water that eventually is part of us, it's all flowing through us, we can start to recognize and understand ourselves better, because we mimic the exact actions of all water. You know, like when you're looking at this calm ocean, you know, how many times have we appeared on the outside to be very calm, but in fact we're not? Because you can look at the ocean, you can stand on the beach and see just how beautiful and peaceful it seems, but right underneath it, you have no idea if a shark's eating a bunch of fish. You don't know if two whales are fighting. You don't know. It's crazy underneath the ocean. It's crazy. And that mirrors exactly who and what we are, because we do the same exact thing. And it helps us recognize ourselves. It helps us know who we are individually. It is also a raging sea, right? I mean, toppling boats, drowning people. Just, it's insane how water can be so calm and peaceful, like standing at the beach looking at the beautiful sunset, and then some other part of water somewhere else in the world is just causing chaos and destruction. And how about this? I love thinking about this. Yesterday I brought up the water in I've seen a lot of older women lately, like I'm talking about in their 80s, early 90s, that are jumping out of planes. It reminds me of how some water just is free. It will just jump. It has no choice. It just jumps off of the cliff. And this happens nonstop. Water is not afraid. It doesn't fear. It just does it. It has no choice but to overcome itself and just fall. And a lot of people, including me, I've jumped out of a plane, and it is liberating, if you will, but it's the same thing, right? We're doing the same thing. And water, just like us, we do not like to be kidnapped and caged like some governments do to people all over the world now, just for simple social media posts. We don't like it. Water has to find a way to escape. And if you are familiar with any of these studies where you put good intention into water, or you high pressurize water, like we don't like to be under pressure because we are water. And when you look at it under a microscope as it's freezing, it is ugly. Like the water molecules, it doesn't do like these beautiful crystals. What it does is it looks angry. And aren't we the same way whenever we feel high pressure? When we feel stressed out, we feel caged. And water doesn't like it. We don't like it. We just don't like it. A lot of people, a good portion of people say, I really handle life better whenever I'm under pressure. And a lot of times water does. It finds a way. It finds a way. It finds the least point of resistance and darts out. It just does it. And we can recognize that in ourselves too. When we're under high pressure, we can find that release valve. We can discover it. We can do it. We've all heard this term, right? Like you're dating somebody, or you got a friend, like, man, you are just as cold as ice. You're just cold. Well, if we understand how water works, you know that whenever water freezes, it resets its molecular structure, right? It's like it cleanses itself. And then when you look at it under the microscope, it becomes this beautiful crystal again. It's pretty interesting. And how that happens, it gets hard, cold, mean, if you will. It can be very destructive. But then it just melts. It just lets it go. And then it becomes beautiful crystal again under the microscope. Isn't that the same way with us? If we are cold and mean and all of a sudden we understand that maybe we were in the wrong, or maybe we visited that issue and now we just let it go. We just let it melt away. All of a sudden we are resetting ourselves, just like the frozen water, whenever we get warm and let it melt away. We are the direct mirror of water. And, you know, have you ever had water and you're like, this water kind of smells funny? Or I know some people that say, I just can't drink water, so they drink all these other types of fluids to get their water. But I think some people, whenever we say, no, I don't want that water, our bodies naturally know what is not good for us. So if we have water that is filled with nasty chemicals, the chlorines and the fluoride and all the junk, waste, pharmaceutical recycling within the water systems, like intuitively our body knows, like, get away. And maybe that's why so many people are searching for better water in the water bottles. A lot of times that's not true because it's still kind of bad, but it's better than the alternative of getting it under the tap in a lot of cases. So it's interesting how our water knows it doesn't want to be polluted by bad water. That's interesting for us to think about, because in our daily lives, we don't want to be polluted by bad relationships. We don't want to be polluted by negative energies. We don't want to be polluted. And so we are just unconsciously separating ourselves from the bad, which is good. And this, I've often said here that, you know, you don't need a preacher, pastor, guru, anybody. You have all the knowledge, you have all the emotion, you have everything inside of you. And one of the reasons I believe that is true, because as I said in the earlier slide, there's never been any more or less water. And everything that has ever lived, every plant, you know, these beautiful trees, every dog, every animal, all human life, every human has had to consume a lot of water throughout their life. And that water passes through them, it gets recycled, and it continues down that ancestral path. So from Genghis Khan to Gandhi, everybody, we're all consuming that same water. It's all flowing through us. And there are some scientists that believe water has memory, and I am a firm believer in that. And if water has memory, we have all that ancestral knowledge inside of us. All we have to do is tap into it through meditation, through exercising our critical minds, by surrounding ourselves with people, other water, that we are creating these waves and ripples of positive, good energy, and expanding our minds, expanding our spirit, expanding and deepening our connection to others and to the infinite. It is interesting to think that everyone that you hold in high esteem, from ancient times to closer contemporary times, we are consuming their water. What was in their bag of flesh is now in yours. It's fascinating. I also like to think of us and our soul and our spirit. Water doesn't die. I mean, you can harm water by filling it with chemicals and putting it in adverse conditions, but you could grab a sledgehammer and start pounding a bucket of water. That water is not dying. You cannot kill it. It's not going away. So we are water, and because we are water, we never die either. It just continuously flows. I'm talking about our physical nature, the thing that houses our consciousness. This thing never dies. It changes, it morphs into something else, but the water never goes away, just like energy. You know, we can feel that power, the lightning and the thunderstorms, all caused by this fantastic energy. And because water, I mean, we all know not to go swim in the pool when there's lightning, right? We don't want to go jump in the pond whenever you got thunderstorms above you. But water is this never-ending energy and flow and this beautiful dance, and it can be awfully dangerous too. It can be awfully dangerous, and it has so many different moods. Like water does everything. It has every one of these attributes that we each have inside of ourselves. And if we pay more attention to water, we can end up learning more about ourselves. And that's why I think, and I know, we should give a lot of respect and gratitude to water. These studies have been proven several times, and I think the guy's name is Miyato. I forget. I'll put it in the link. There's a great documentary on it, and many other scientists have followed up on his work. When you thank water, like holy water, for instance, or baptism water, or any of the religions, that it's a common practice to bless the water and to give it gratitude. And whenever that happens, it literally changes the molecular structure of water. Maybe it's through the vibrations, because water interacts with vibrations in a big way. So if we give thanks to our water and it changes that molecular structure to be a more beautiful physical thing, and then we consume it, we make it part of who we are. If we're putting negative energy into our bodies by not thanking it versus saying, thank you for giving me this life force every time, even if it's just in your head for a second, just thank you, and consume it. Isn't that much better than allowing negative forces into us? That water is still kind of angry. It just came out of a high pressured faucet, or it just came out of being purified, and it's not happy, but it becomes happy. Water actually becomes happy under a microscope by just the simple act of saying thank you. That's something that we should really consider, because we are respecting ourselves because we are water. We're giving thanks to ourselves because that water is becoming us. And without water, there can be no expression of consciousness, like none. So when we don't take water for granted and we actually pay attention to it, it is in every living thing. So like when you're driving down interstate and you see the grass, or you see the flowers, or you see a median full of beautiful trees, or wherever you are, taking a nature walk, meditating in a field, whatever it is, all of that is possible only with water. So we can have this deeper understanding of life by being aware that we're all interconnected. All of our consciousness is related. And how is it related? It's all related through water, because what is in me will soon be in you, and vice versa. What was in that cow or sheep or dog, what is in them is also going to be in you, which helps us better understand the animalistic nature of humans. It's pretty fascinating, and it's a strange paradox to think that we are individuals, and we have our individual mind and our individual actions, and perceptions and all the things that make us an individual, yet we're still connected, literally still connected through this life force of water. Because all the emotions inside of you and all the emotions inside of me were flowing inside and in and out of each other. It's just so fascinating to contemplate. So I want to thank y'all for joining me today. And if this resonates with you at all, we gather every single Sunday at 1:15. We're just a few minutes, like 30 minutes from downtown Shreveport, about 20-ish from Marshall. And it is a great place of fellowship. If you don't meditate, or if you never have meditated, we do guided meditations. They're wonderful to relax the mind and spirit and help your water become more calm and more peaceful, and to guide yourself and your water just to a better place. And we need people. Our water needs other water. and we need to commingle in a very positive way. And if that resonates with you, come out and see us. Thank y'all for joining. We'll see you next time.